Hello, everyone. So my ranking might be a little unconventional. I'm not sure, but I guess you'll let me know. But I used a humanist approach to history, and while I recognize the importance of hard data, I am prioritizing sources that reveal the actual values and behaviors of the Mycenaeans. Um, so for my grading system, I used medals following the recent Olympics. And of course, in honor of the Greeks who created the Olympics, I've assigned medals based on how much each source contributes to our understanding of the Mycenaeans' inner world. So first up, our gold medalist is the Homer epics because they're going to reveal to us a cultural truth. And it's actually kind of funny that I am championing the epics here because I actually truly loathe the Iliad and the Odyssey. In fact, I often joke with my students about how inescapable they have been for me. I had to study them as an English undergrad, and then for my master's in humanities, now here again in history, and I've had to teach them for many years. And I think it's because they are so important to our understanding of the Mycenaean worldview. Now, I recognize that a lot of scholars might dismiss them as just pure myth, and we don't really know how much of Homer's account is actually real. But I actually don't think it matters because the epics are real to the Greeks, and they preserved the values of Homer's society. Um, for instance, the religious code of Xenia, and that's going to be that sacred guest friendship that served as the social glue that allowed their world to function for trade to function. And as we learned in the Homer portion of the lesson, poets might skip the boring administrative details to stay enthralling. But they kept the core ideas of how their societies, their cultures actually worked. All right, the next up is the archaeological evidence. And by the way, it really pains me to put archaeological evidence second because I am huge on object analysis, but I had to do this somehow, so this is what I went with. And this is going to serve as our physical proof, and that is going to ground the tradition. As Professor Eric Klein points out in the video, this was a globalized world system where we had goods traveling from Italy to Afghanistan. And we see this in the archaeological evidence, such as that found at the Uluburun shipwreck and the lapis lazuli in Grave Circle B, which connect Greece to the Far East. And it's in second place because while it shows us what they had, it's a silent witness. We need the stories to understand the people who actually used these objects. All right, and then last but not least, and these guys would have gone home with medals, is Linear B. So these tablets are they're contemporary and they're incredibly accurate, but they are purely administrative. They just don't really tell us a whole lot. Um, According to the superpowers part of the lecture, they prove that the Mycenaeans were heavy hitters. They were very important in the ancient world. They were important players in the ancient world, but the content of them is limited to like things like inventories of wool and grain. And for that reason, Linear B is ranked last because it gives us the how much but not more of the sort of the bigger sort of human questions. That being said, ultimately, it is vital for us to use all of these sources in conjunction, which is why we do. Linear B gives us the logistics, archaeology gives us the stage, the physical evidence, and Homer gives us the actors. And you can't have a complete big picture with just one. I would argue we don't have a complete anything, but the what of archaeology needs the why of things like Xenia to make sense. We don't remember the Mycenaeans for, things like inventories. We remember them for their stories. And that's why I am probably stuck with the Iliad and the Odyssey forever. All right, so I look forward to hearing your thoughts.